This is the Intersecondary School Debate Series Round 2, brought to you with kind compliments of Caribbean Union Bank.
Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way. Caribbean Union Bank, you matter to us. Caribbean Union Bank, our people, our purpose. Every day at Caribbean Union Bank, we are committed to creating the kinds of products and services that you want and need. We are not just a bank. We are your partner on your journey to financial freedom and success. Because we are driven by you. Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way.
This is the 2024 Caribbean Union Bank Intersecondary School Debate Series. I am your moderator, Priscilla Marsh Sutton. If you missed our last encounter, let me be the one to inform you that the Antigua Grammar School edged out the Seventh-day Adventist Secondary to move forward in the competition, and they will be a part of the semi-finals. We have a brand new and exciting encounter for you this evening. The Clear Hall Secondary School will be meeting with the Antigua Girls High School to debate the moot. The laws on abortion rights in Antigua and Barbuda need to be amended. The laws on abortion rights in Antigua and Barbuda need to be amended. Let's meet the members of both of our teams. We'll start with the proposition Clear Hall Secondary.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Siaka Edwards, and I'm the first speaker.
Good evening. I'm Anya Hall, the second speaker of the proposition, Clear Hall Secondary.
Good evening. I am Ray Cornelius, the first alternate speaker of the Clear Hall Secondary School.
Good evening. I'm Leticia Dickinson. I'm the alternate second speaker of the Clear Hall Secondary School.
All right, there you have it, Team Clear Hall Secondary. We now move on to the opposing team, the Antigua Girls High School.
Good evening. I'm Lilian Munoz from Antigua Girls High School, the first speaker.
Good evening. I am Sherry Pascal from the Antigua Girls High School, the second speaker.
Good evening. My name is Imani Ambrose, and I am the first speaker reserved for the Antigua Girls High School.
Good evening. My name is Sabrina Breton, and I'm the second speaker reserved for the Antigua Girls High School.
All right, there you have it, Team Antigua Girls High School. Come on, a round of applause for both of our teams in this encounter. As is customary, a panel of judges will decide on the team that will advance in the competition. Our judges this evening are Mr. Ursel Charles Jr., Deputy Director of News and Current Affairs, ABS TV and Radio. Asata Roberts, Deputy Head of Campus, Abbott. And Ms. Sharon Herbert, Social Sector Planner, Ministry of Social Transformation. A round of applause for our judges. Their task is never easy. Our timekeeper, as usual, the lovely Miss Aisha Lynch. We will begin this evening's encounter with the proposition's first speaker, T. Iker Edwards, followed by Antigua Girls High School, Lilian Munoz. We will then move on to the second speakers from each team. First speakers will be given 5 minutes for their presentations, and second speakers 3 minutes. The bell will ring once, at the 1 minute, and twice before the allotted time have expired. Following the presentations, we will move on to the rebuttals. In that segment, 3 minutes will be given to each debater. Now that you know the rules of the competition and you have met the teams, it is time for us to take a break. When we return, the debate begins. We'll be right back.
Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way. Caribbean Union Bank, you matter to us. Caribbean Union Bank, our people, our purpose. Every day at Caribbean Union Bank, We are committed to creating the kinds of products and services that you want and need. We are not just a bank. We are your partner on your journey to financial freedom and success because we are driven by you. Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way.
Welcome back to the Caribbean Union Bank Intersecondary School Debate Series. If you're just joining us, the moot for this encounter between the Clear Hall Secondary School and the Antigua Girls High School is the laws on abortion rights in Antigua and Barbuda need to be amended. We will now begin this encounter with the first speaker from the proposition. Please welcome Tiaika Edwards, Team Clear Hall Secondary.
My colleague and I are here to propose the motion, the laws on abortion rights in Antigua and Barbuda need to be amended. I will now delimit the operative terms and establish the parameters upon which our argument will be constructed. As defined by the Oxford Learner's Dictionary, laws refers to a set of rules that deal with a particular crime, agreement, etc. Amended means to change a law in order to correct a mistake or to improve it, and abortion rights as stated by encyclopedia.com refer to the claim that abortion is a liberty that is or ought to be protected by law. Madam Moderator, my esteemed opponents, distinguished judges, listening and viewing audience, good evening. The moot necessitates that we scrutinize whether the laws governing abortion needs to be modernized, and we the proponents eagerly concur. I will now proceed to establish 3 irrefutable reasons in support of the moot. 1. The legislation is archaic and obsolete. 2. Abortion rights is inextricably linked to human rights. And 3. Removing the stigma and prioritizing mental health. My colleague will conclude our argument by addressing 3 repercussions. Madam Moderator, my esteemed colleagues, listen to this heart-wrenching account of a friend's tragic experience. Tears flowed from my eyes when pallbearers lowered the coffin into the grave. I could not understand why the hospital had refused to offer my niece a safe abortion whose pregnancy was a result of rape. I blamed my country's legislation for failing to review the law that criminalizes abortion, the law that forced her to go for a backstreet abortion which led to her death. I have lost my niece because of the draconian abortion law. Firstly, the law governing abortion rights in Antigua and Barbuda is archaic and obsolete. Madam Moderator, it is unbelievable that in this 21st century, no amendment has been done to Antigua and Barbuda's Abortion Rights Act of 1895. This is not only preposterous, but is also scandalous. The act only permits an abortion to save a mother's life. Learned opponents, can you imagine that the abortion laws have remained unchanged for over a century? In that same century, women have been earned rights to vote, work, and to travel without their husbands. Honorable judges, in this day and age, why should women be denied the right to bodily autonomy? The law needs to reflect the evolving and progressive society that exists today. Secondly, abortion rights are inextricably linked to human rights. Worthy opponents, reproductive justice in our country continues to be a struggle. Honorable judges, you would agree that reproductive rights are integral to women's rights and human rights. Isn't each human, including women, entitled to full human rights? Furthermore, won't you agree, Madam Moderator, that reproductive freedom lies at the heart of the promise of human dignity, self-determination, and equality as declared in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? Madam Moderator, this is madness. A 19th century law is being used to govern 21st century behavior. Learned opponents, it is definitely time for our leaders to recognize that the current legislation is harming its citizens. According to Executive Director of the Antigua Planned Parenthood Association, Lyndale Weaver Greenaway said, and I quote, "The laws which criminalize abortion do not prevent the practice, but certainly restrict access to safe and timely medical care," end quote. Distinguished judges, in the 5th May 2022 edition of the Daily Observer, Attorney General Stedroy Benjamin stated that the country's current abortion law is set to be reviewed in the upcoming Parliament sitting. He asserted that he is in support of making some changes. Esteemed opponents, even the government is conceding that they are out of step. By reforming these laws, we have the opportunity to signal a transformative shift towards a more compassionate society and paving the way for a mentally healthier environment that respects diverse reproductive choices. esteemed opponents, on the eve of International Women's Day 2024, we as women must fight with every breath of life for the basic human right. I thank you.
That was T.I. Kerr Edwards, Team Clear Hall, secondary. Another round of applause for Team Clear Hall, secondary. She completed her presentation in a time of 3 minutes and 58 seconds. We now move on to the opposing team, the Antigua Girls High School. Please welcome their representative, Lillian Munoz.
Madam Moderator, esteemed judges, worthy opponents, listening and viewing audience, good evening. My colleague and I are delighted to oppose this evening's moot, which states that the laws on abortion rights in Antigua and Barbuda need to be amended. Tonight, the opposition's argument is founded on 5 main points. Firstly, I will show that the laws are put in place to protect human life. Secondly, I will delve into the physical effects that an abortion may cause. Then, I will expound on the importance of sex education and alternatives on abortion. Finally, my colleague will explore the mental ramifications that legalizing abortion and the potential abuse that changing the laws may have. Before delving into our argument, allow me to provide clarity on key terms. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines laws as bind on custom or practice of a community. Abortion, the termination of a pregnancy after, accompanied by, resulting in, or closely followed by the death of an embryo or fetus. Need to be necessary, amended, changed, or modified, especially to make a correction. The Collins Dictionary describes rights as those things that one is morally or legally entitled to do or have. For the sake of the opposition's argument, tonight's moot can therefore be restated as Antigua and Barbuda abortion rights legalization ought to be reinforced. Under the Offenses Against the Person Act of 1937, no person shall be found guilty of the offense of destroying a child capable of being born alive if the act was done in good faith for preserving the life of a mother. These laws are implemented to protect not only the lives of women, but of the unborn. Legalizing abortion not only undermines the sanctity of life, but condones the taking of innocent lives. As a society, we have a moral obligation to safeguard the most vulnerable among us. The legalization of abortion would convey the idea that some lives are expendable, going against our fundamental values as a nation. Honorable judges, imagine discarding something that others desperately want. Individuals in the world are starving for a chance of having a child of their own, and people are throwing them away like food. As the national anthem says, we must raise the standard, raise it boldly. Yes, raise the standard and raise it boldly. Moderator, we need lawfulness, not lawlessness. Individuals need to be held accountable for their actions. So instead of modifying the law, let us enforce the law. Our morals are rapidly depleting as a society because of the adoption to every immoral act under the umbrella of my body, my choice. My fellow opponents, just imagine the chaos and confusion. How can mere mortals understand the true meaning of life, our responsibilities as individuals, and how one's actions can greatly affect another? Until we do so, our society is forever in shambles. Additionally, the proposed amendments overlooks the potential physical consequences of abortion. Madam Moderator, there are 2 ways in which abortion can be done: medication or surgical procedures. Each method resulting in substantial risk. The likelihood of infections from unsterile surgical instruments pose a threat to a woman's life. Medication-induced abortions can result in death if the fetus isn't expelled completely. Due to the sensitive nature, death as a result of abortion may not be discussed or broadcasted on the media. However, as stated by Dr. Dane Abbott, the dangers of abortion is not, if not done correctly, may cause excessive bleeding, also known as hemorrhaging. Finally, Madam Moderator, why must the government legalize abortion if the means of preventing pregnancies are there? Why disrupt the system when measures can be taken? Educating the youth on self-protection can also add a preventative layer to the discussion. Rather than focusing solely on legalizing abortion, We should invest in comprehensive sexual education, access to contraceptives, and support services for both women and men. Dr. Ollis says, in actual fact, what a number of studies show is that by providing comprehensive sexual education, young people actually delay the onset of sexual activity. By addressing the root causes of unintended pregnancies and providing resources and support to help face difficult circumstances, the demand for abortion can be reduced. The assertion that Antigua and Barbuda's abortion rights legislation should be reinforced is grounded in the conviction that preserving life, both of women and unborn babies, aligns with our core beliefs as a nation. Enforcement of existing laws, coupled with a focus on comprehensive sexual education, access to contraceptives, and support services, offers a more ethical, sound, and pragmatic approach to addressing unintended pregnancies and safeguarding the well-being of our society. And I quote, "Out of difficulties grow miracles," by Jean de la Brie. Madam Moderator, with these words, I rest my case.
Thank you, Lillian. That was Lillian Munoz, the Antigua Girls High School. Another round of applause. She completed her presentation in a time of 5 minutes and 31 seconds. We now move on to the second speakers. We'll start with the proposition as usual. Please welcome Anya Hall, Team Clear Hall Secondary.
Permit me to adopt all protocols previously observed. Good evening. I rise in full support of my colleague in defending our argument. The laws governing abortion rights in Antigua and Barbuda need to be amended. I will further consolidate our position by addressing how amending the laws governing abortion rights can 1. Decrease complications and maternal mortality, 2. Remove the trauma of fetal impairment, and 3. Reduce socioeconomic deprivations. Firstly, restrictive abortion laws cause enormous harm. Madam Moderator, do you know that unsafe abortion is one of the leading causes of maternal deaths in the world? In fact, according to the World Health Organization, every 8 minutes a woman dies of complications arising from an unsafe abortion. Further, the same organization estimated that unsafe abortion have accounted for 7.9% of all maternal deaths worldwide. Honorable judges, women forced to have unsafe abortions suffer severe life-threatening consequences. In an interview conducted with one of Antigua's leading gynecologists, he explained that unsafe abortions have led to punctured uteri, serious bleeding, infection, poisoning, shock, and gangrene. Esteemed opponents, won't you agree that the time has come to move away from back alleys into hygienic facilities staffed by certified health professionals? Honorable judges, the stakes are high. Women's lives are on the line. We must prioritize women's health and decriminalize abortion? No. Secondly, amending laws on abortion rights remove the trauma of fetal impairment. Worthy opponents, why bring a child into this world with grotesque or severe abnormalities? Isn't that cruelty? How many of you would be able to cope with the stigma and marginalization that our backward society associate with children having severe congenital disorder? Don't you think that is torturous? Importantly, Madam Moderator, the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of a Child endorsed amending abortion laws to avoid immeasurable pain and suffering to a child. Honorable judges, most assuredly, these anti-abortion laws will trap parents and children in a vortex of insufferable misery. Thirdly, amending laws governing rights can reduce socio-economic deprivations, where the opponents, contrary to popular opinion, our economic powerhouse is very expensive to live in. Our tourism-based island imports most of its food and energy, hence skyrocketing our cost of living. Madam Moderator, these anti-abortion laws have worsened our economic condition for poorer women whose circumstances force them to become single mothers, trapping them in a life of struggle and deprivation. Madam Moderator, although daunting, the predicament is not without solutions. Preventing unintended pregnancies and educating women regarding their reproductive health should be a priority for all nations. Unequivocally, justice and equity for every Antiguan and Barbudan woman that deserve that we urgently amend our abortion laws. I thank you.
Thank you, Anya. Anya Hall, Team Clear Hall Secondary School. Come on, let the applause reign. She completed her presentation in a time of 3 minutes and 4 seconds. It's now time to hear from the opposing team, Antigua Girls High School. Please welcome Sherry Pascal.
All protocols previously acknowledged. Today we stand before you all vehemently to oppose the notion that the abortion rights in Antigua and Barbuda should be amended. While the issue of abortion is undoubtedly a sensitive one, it is imperative that we consider the ramifications of such a drastic change, particularly concerning mental health and the potential for abuse. Firstly, let us address the impact on mental health. Research has constantly shown that abortion can have detrimental effects on the mental well-being of women. Studies have linked abortions to increased rates of anxiety, depression, and even suicidal thoughts, according to the Antigua and Barbuda abortion policy, the World Population Review. By liberalizing abortion laws, we would only be exuberating this already pressing issue. Instead of providing women with the support and the resources they need to make informed choices, we would be subjecting them to further emotional distress and trauma. Secondly, we must acknowledge the potential for abuse that comes with the amending of the abortion laws. Without proper regulation in place, there is a significant risk of exploitation, coercion, and even forced abortions. Vulnerable women, especially those from marginalized societies, could find themselves pressured into terminating pregnancies against their will, according to the impact of abortion laws in the Caribbean. The conversation. Madam Moderator, legalizing abortion in Antigua and Barbuda without proper regulation would be like opening a playground to children without any adult supervision. It would likely attract children who may not fully understand the dangers, leading to potential harm and accidents. Similarly, without stringent regulations surrounding abortion, there's a risk that individuals, including young women, may exploit the law without fully understanding the consequences, leading to potential harm and injustice. This is not a future we should be advocating for. We must prioritize the protection and autonomy of women, ensuring that their reproductive rights are safeguarded at all costs. Madam Moderator, I conclude that the current abortion laws in Antigua and Barbuda serve to protect the well-being of women and uphold the sanctity of life. Amending these laws will only lead to increased harm and injustice. Let us focus on providing comprehensive support and resources to women facing unplanned pregnancies, empowering them to make choices that are truly in their best interests. As Susan B. Anthony, a prominent advocate for women's rights, famously said, "I deplore the horrible crime of child murder." With these statements, we rest our case.
Thank you, Sherry. That was the Sherry Pascal team, Antigua Girls High School. Come on, you know I want the applause. She completed her presentation in a time of 2 minutes and 48 seconds. I must comment that we have had or seen a very high standard so far in this encounter. A round of applause for both of our teams. Don't go anywhere. Caribbean Union Bank Intersecondary School debate continues.
Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way. Caribbean Union Bank, you matter to us. Caribbean Union Bank, our people, our purpose. Every day at Caribbean Union Bank, we are committed to creating the kinds of products and services that you want and need. We are not just a bank. We are your partner on your journey to financial freedom and success. Because we are driven by you. Driven by you, we're better every every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way.
Welcome back to the Caribbean Union Bank Inter-Secondary School Debate Series. If you're just joining us, the Clear Hall Secondary School and the Antigua Girls High School are meeting to debate the moot. The laws on abortion rights in Antigua and Barbuda need to be amended. The rebuttal segment is about to begin, and we will begin with the opposing team, the Antigua Girls High School. Each presenter will be given 3 minutes in which to complete their presentation. The bell will ring once at the beginning of the final minute and twice when the maximum allotted time would have expired. I know you're eagerly waiting, and we're ready. Please welcome to begin the rebuttals, Team Antigua Girls High School, Lillian Munoz.
Madam Moderator, honorable judges, my worthy opponents, listening and viewing audience, good evening once again. My colleague and I have sat here and we have heard the opponent's argument and we have pondered. And we are still not convinced that the laws on abortion rights in Antigua and Barbuda should be amended. Firstly, my fellow opponent stated it is painful to bring an abnormal child into the world. But are you saying that it is less painful to terminate your own baby instead of seeking for help as a mother? Secondly, my opponents further stated the financial burden on less fortunate women. But why make abortion the first option? Madam Moderator, what about adoption? Additionally, if you know that you're financially unable to raise a child, then isn't it of your best interest to plan your pregnancies? In Antigua and Barbuda, we have several agencies such as Planned Parenthood Association and the Gender Affairs. We had the pleasure of speaking to Mrs. Charles, who expressed the interest and how much they put the work into helping mothers and planning pregnancies. Additionally, my fellow opponents have stated the laws are outdated, but many persons also say that the Bible is outdated, and citizens still live by its principles. My fellow opponents, outdated does not mean irrelevant. Would modernizing the law then make it any better? Think about it. When modern technology in schools fail, what happens then? We go back to the good old chalk and talk. Not ignoring the economic consideration, while socioeconomic factors may influence the access of abortion. However, addressing the economic disparities through social welfare and creating many more equitable solutions that can be implemented instead of changing the laws. Judges, the proposition mentioned women should make their own decisions, this ultimately meaning my body, my choice. Should we then not stop the attempt of suicide? Think about it. It's their body, their choice, right? Fellow opponents, you need to think about it. Additionally, what about the role of fathers? Shouldn't they have a say in the life of their baby? Instead of including them in the decisions, we're only making them feel unimportant. And I can testify, as a daughter of a single father, fathers do put in the work, and we need to stop excluding them in decisions. Finally, yes, some laws may lack explicit provisions for cases of rape and incest, but these instances can still be addressed within the legal framework. Take, for instance, jurisdictions that allow abortion when pregnancies pose a physical and mental threat to the mother. Madam Moderator, why should we amend the law of abortions in Antigua and Barbuda when the laws were established to protect life and maintain our core beliefs as we strive to raise the standard and keep a morally sound society in our beloved Twin Island state? Can we desire any better? The law supports women and their unborn baby. Jeremiah 1:5 states, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." The Lord knows best. Fellow opponents, are you going against the Lord's will? The Lord knows that something beautiful is on the horizon. What seems to us as bitter trials are often blessings in disguise. With these words, the opposition rests its case.
Thank you very much, Lillian. Team Antigua Girls High School. She completed her presentation in a time of 3 minutes and 34 seconds. Another round of applause. To end the rebuttals, we'll now hear from the proposing team, Team Clear Hall Secondary. Welcome, Anya Hall.
Good evening, everyone. To begin, we aren't saying to allow it completely. We aren't saying to throw away a child left, right, and center. We are indeed saying, however, that the law needs to be amended in a way that widens the scope, not only when it is a risk to a mother. What about rape victims? What about children born from incest? The mothers who aren't mentally stable, should they be forced to carry the child? Would you, in that circumstance, want to carry that child when it comes to protecting human life? What about the mother in a hospital bed who is about to die if she has that child? The first speaker mentioned a point about hygiene. If the abortion law was amended, women will be in a clean hospital instead of the back street. Let us keep in mind, the same year Alexander Graham Bell invented the phone. You know that phone, the spinny phone that people used to use in 1895, the one you had to pick up so, like this? Okay, I think you get the gist. When that phone was invented, the same year the act was passed, why did we allow inanimate objects to surpass us in development? Look at the phone that we have now. Are we seriously allowing technology to evolve more than the rights of a woman? Truly sad. What about the immoral act of forcing someone to do something that will affect them and the child negatively? Furthermore, your second speaker said, and I quote, that their reproductive rights should be protected at all costs. Madam Moderator, my colleagues seem to be contradicting themselves. My worthy colleague would have stated in her definition about the abortion rights that it refers to the claim that abortion is a liberty. Let me repeat, a liberty, a freedom that ought to be protected, which therefore implies that women have a choice of free will. But that is not what you're arguing. In fact, it's the opposite. My worthy opponent mentioned the mental well-being of women. What about the women who suffer from postpartum depression and who harm not only themselves but those around them, including their children? Women who are forced to carry their rapist child, or who just aren't mentally stable. One, not to be forced to carry a child, and two, the child shouldn't have to live with the struggles of having a mentally impaired mother. Worthy opponents, your first speaker mentioned Dr. Hollis, saying that abortion may lead to serious bleeding. However, allow me to quote myself. I believe you mean unsafe abortion, which leads to serious bleeding, etc. Moreover, worthy opponents, your first speaker spoke about alternates, such as contraceptives. But what about the women who can't use those due to them leading to serious health issues? And not only that, but what about the fact that our country isn't the most financially stable? With what money do you expect us to be able to buy these contraceptives for women? I mean, allow me to speak freely and say that the point was impractical. I found it seriously ironic, firstly, the fact that you both represent an all-girls school, and secondly, that tomorrow is March 9th, International Women's Day. Is this your way of representing? Come on now, advocate. I feel as if you presented a good argument. However, I have found all the holes in your sinking ship. Thank you.
That was Anya Hall, Team Clear Hall Secondary. Round of applause for Anya Hall, and she completed her presentation in a time of 4 minutes and 5 seconds. That item brought us to the end of the second encounter in the second round of the 2024 Caribbean Union Bank Inter-Secondary School Debate Series. We're going to take another short break. When we return, we'll hear from our judges. Stay with us.
Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way. Caribbean Union Bank, you matter to us. Caribbean Union Bank, our people, our purpose. Every day at Caribbean Union Bank, we are committed to creating the kinds of products and services that you want and need. We are not just a bank. We are your partner on your journey to financial freedom and success. Because we are driven by you. Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way.
Thank you for staying with us for the Caribbean Union Bank Inter-Secondary School Debate Series. The Clear Hall Secondary School and the Antigua Girls High School met in this encounter. The judges have deliberated and tallied their scores to present their findings and to announce the winning team that will move forward in the competition. Please welcome Senior Judge Ursel Charles Jr.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon for what we felt was a very riveting encounter between two schools that I would admit I was very interested to adjudicate for, because they're two very good teams with four very good speakers. And so it gives me great pleasure on behalf of Asata Roberts and Sharon Herbert to present the judges' report for today. Let's just point out some of the things that the teams did well. We thought that they were all excellent speakers. There are some caveats to that, though. We found that, for the most part, many spoke way too quickly. I think when we're looking at the preparation of scripts, we have to bear in mind the time limits. We want to give particular credit to the second speaker from the opposition for giving a more measured presentation of her script. Okay, yes, you can applaud that. In terms of research, it was evident that there was a breadth of research. We do want to point out, though, that there were some flaws, some generalizations that we found needed to be more specific. For example, there were references made to, we spoke to a doctor, and we need to know who that doctor is and what his specialty is, what his area of expertise would be. We also got some references from some international organizations, which we found was very good, although there could have been better use made of local sources for the statistics that you were in need of to buttress your argument. You referenced several laws on the books, which we found was very good, show that you conducted some research on the ground in Antigua Barbuda, which is where the debate was based. The topic actually mentioned Antigua Barbuda, so it was good that you brought that into your presentation. We also want to caution debaters to present their arguments to the front of the podium, so to the audience and to those listening, rather than to the opposition, to the proposition, or to the judges, or to Madam Moderator. You need to vary where your eyes rest, and so you should ideally be making eye contact with everybody in the room to ensure that each person is drawn into your presentation. So, that's enough talking from me. I will now call on the better speakers from each team. The better speaker, we want to say as well that we do recognize that the first speaker from the proposition, in her setting of her parameters, said that she would present 3. We did realize that you only had 2, and we understood why. All right, so let's get to the actual results. So the better speaker on the propositions team, the Clear Hall Secondary, Tiaika Edwards. the better speaker on the opposition team, the Antigua Girls High School, Lilian Munoz. The overall best speaker by 0.2 points is Tiaika Edwards of Clay Hall Secondary. Very often in encounters like these, the rebuttals win the overall debate, and that is what happened in this evening's encounter. By a scoreline of 68.7 for the second place team, 75.6 for the winning team. The winners of this evening's encounter, the Antigua Girls High School. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ursel. Another round of applause for Ursel Charles Jr., our chief judge. Congratulations to both teams for doing a stellar job. I think we had a very high standard of debate this evening, and I'm sure that you will agree. So another round of applause for both of our teams for doing an excellent job. Clear Hall Secondary and the Antigua Girls High School. Now it is time for the closing remarks, and we'll start with the Clear Hall Secondary School. Please welcome Tiaika Edwards.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. To begin, I would like to thank the Lord Almighty for bringing us here, for getting us so far in this competition, for giving us the literacy and the articulation to be able to come up here and do what we need to do, the confidence and whatnot. I would like to thank our trainers. I would like to thank our teachers, our supporters, our team. I'd like to thank anyone involved in the making of the speech and the preparation of both me and my colleague. I would also like to thank our opponents for doing such a wonderful job today. Congratulations to them. I would also like to thank the judges for doing an amazing job today and for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiaika. That was Tiaika Edwards, team Clear Hall Secondary. We now move on to the winning team. Please welcome from the Antigua Girls High School, Sherry Pascal.
Good day. I would like to thank God for everything that He's done for us. I would also like to thank our trainers. I would like to thank all the ladies of the Antigua Girls High School who have given us support and the necessary love that we needed in our endeavors of this day. I would like to thank our opponents for bringing out such a good fight. I would like to thank everyone that's here today, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry, team Antigua Girls High School. And congratulations are in order once again. They will move on to the semifinal round of the competition. Now, you must join us next week if you are looking forward to another riveting, another exciting debate encounter. Next week, or next encounter, we have the All Saints Secondary School and the St. Anthony's Secondary School. Be sure to tune in. Be sure to join us. This is the Caribbean Union Bank Intersecondary School Debate Series. I am your moderator. Until next time, remember, stay positive. Bye-bye.